Hello everyone. How's everyone doing today? Glad you could be here with us today. Before I get started, just let me know if you guys can hear me properly and we'll jump right into it. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm gonna go through what you guys are going to be working with me today. So the overall webinar is gonna consist of creating a 3D render, hyper-realistic renders out of one SketchUp model. And in today's webinar, we're going to be specifically working with this model. So I'm going to, great, thanks for letting me know, Pissy 3D. Okay, so as you can see, this is going to be basically our end result. So it's pretty magical, as one of you just mentioned on the chat. Also, let me know where you guys are from. It's always good to know that. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is obviously go through the 3D SketchUp 3D that we're going to be working with. And then we're going to be looking at how we can create this very interesting and amazing photorealistic renders. And we're also going to be adding some extra ingredients there, which is going to be animation with AI. All right. So let me show you the 3D model that we're going to be using. Also, actually, just before moving on to that, I'm going to also show you the overall VizMaker file. So for those who are new with us today, some of our workflows or our workflow consists of VizMaker, on using VizMaker, which is an AI app. I'm going to be talking about it in just a bit, okay? But the very magical thing that is going to be happening today is basically, or essentially, we're going to be actually placing these this project into a specific Google Maps location. So that's something that you guys are gonna, I think, you're gonna find it pretty helpful for you, and it's gonna be actually pretty fun to create as well. So this is basically what we are going to be creating today. You can see that all of our nodes are connected there, and this is the way that VizMaker works. Everything is much more efficient with this app. Okay. All right. So let me see, from Caribbean, India. Hello. Awesome. Egypt. Amazing. Glad you guys could make it today. So also, let me know what software do you guys use for 3D modeling. Additionally, if you guys want to follow along and use the same 3D model that I've got here, you can find it. So I'm gonna, of course, give a little bit of credit to the person who developed this 3D model, which are the buildings with all of these complexes on the ground floor. So this was developed by HNT. You can find it on the 3D warehouse. Okay, so shout out to him. And yeah, this is the 3D link. I think you can find it in the description. If you do wanted me to post it on the chat, I can absolutely do that for you guys. Los Angeles, welcome, awesome. Additionally, as I just mentioned, we're going to be working with VizMaker, which is an AI app that will let you render photorealistic renders and also animate your scenes smoothly in seconds. Okay, so if you want to download it, you can head over to VizMaker.VizAcademy.co.uk, guys. Okay, and then you can just write down your email in here, and you'll get the download link on your email. Make sure to also check on the spam folder. Indonesia, SketchUp, Italy also. Okay, so SketchUp. So do you guys use any other type of software? Welcome, Ashurayan. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well, but you're from Italy. That's amazing. One day I want to visit Italy, hopefully soon. So yeah. Again, I'm going to jump into the SketchUp and let me show you basically our workflow. Okay, so this is the 3D model that we're going to be working with. Okay, and what we're also going to be, for the ones who just joined, we're going to be placing this amazing model into a specific Google site. Okay, you can see that my interface is kind of like vertical right now because this is actually aimed for social media. So I'm trying to adjust my interface and everything to make it vertical. All right. Again, let me show you now the site that we're going to be using. which is situated in the US. All right. So if you want to also use the same exact site, and let me show you a little bit more about this if I can just make it 3D. Okay. So you can see that we found this empty lot in here, or empty space. So something's up with this site that it really, we actually need to add another skyscraper. You can see that it's full of skyscrapers in here, which is amazing. So adding one more in here will actually make sense. So we're going to be actually using this specific lot in here. And let me read the chat out for a minute. Okay, so Twinmotion, 3ds Max, Blender. Wow, that's a powerful combination. 3ds Max and Blender. I'm guessing you make really, really amazing stuff with those software. Pakistan, welcome. Twinmotion, great. Turkey, hello, hello. Enscape, Revit, 3ds Max, Rhinoceros. Wow, you guys know lots of very interesting software. So yeah, hopefully in the, I think we have another webinar scheduled for Rhino. So yeah, keep a lookout for that webinar, upcoming webinar. All right. Okay, so we're also going to be kind of like looking at the best perspective that we can use in order to place our 3D model. All right. So I'm just looking for a very interesting perspective, maybe this one. So again, we're going to be doing a couple or a few renders, and I'm going to actually be selecting 3 or 4 different perspectives from Google Maps, and then we're going to be learning how we can actually place our 3D model inside the site. SketchUp, awesome, from Greece, nice, welcome. All right, so first things first, I'm going to jump now into Google Earth. So let's get right into it, guys. So in here, I think Google Earth is gonna actually be a little bit more easier for us to pick the location for our project in here. Why? Because you can actually tweak a little bit of stuff here. For example, the resolution on Google Earth. For me, at least, sometimes it's a little bit complicated to select a specific resolution using Google Maps. So if you're familiar with Google Earth, go ahead and download it, completely free, by the way. And now, let's see, a good perspective for our 3D model. And if I go back here, let's check it out. All right, so we also need to keep in mind the proportions that we have on this 3D project. For example, what I mean by proportions is that in this case, we have kind of like a rectangular shaped geometry for the overall project, okay? So if you're looking to do the same thing, make sure that you're also using a site that will actually also respect the proportions of your project, all right? Oops, let me go back to Google Earth in here. Okay, so I'm going to be starting off by sending or saving a high resolution image from this point in here, okay? So just with the wheel of the mouse and the left click button of it, you can actually move around pretty easily. So something around this point should do, all right? Now, in order to save a high quality image here in Google Earth, the only thing that you have to do is to press on this icon right at the top, which it says Save Image. It kind of looks like it's a strange icon. I really don't see why they placed this kind of icon, but it says Save Image. So you want to click on that, and also you might be wondering why I have all of these off, okay? If I turn all of these off, it will be better for our final image. For example, if I turn places, you can see all of this text there. So the idea is to keep everything nice and simple, or nice and clean rather, all right? So make sure to turn all of these off and then head over to Save Image up here, okay? Now, you can see that I've adjusted again, my canvas is adjusted to a vertical format. It depends whether you want a vertical format or not. In my case, I want it because this is aimed for social media. But if you want to actually make it for a presentation or client presentation, I would suggest you to go with a horizontal format instead. But in this case, let me just leave it as a vertical format, something around this size maybe, okay? And I'm also going to be going into the VizMaker tab because it's a little bit easier for you guys. Or actually, let's go into the warehouse in here and the VizMaker. Yeah, let's go with VizMaker. Okay, so that makes it a little bit more easier for you guys to see Google Earth instead of having everything overlapped there. Okay, so once we have everything set, I'm going to just click on Save Image. Right now, I'm aiming for a semi-aerial shot. Later on, we're going to be creating different types of shots, from a POV shot or a right angle, left angle, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's see. 3ds Max from India, awesome. Giacomo SketchUp from Italy, welcome, welcome, Giacomo. Great. So yeah, glad you guys could make it today. If you have any questions, just lay them off on the chat. Okay, so let's just go ahead and click on Save Image, and also let me head over into this folder that I have on my PC, and I'm gonna name it Site, and then just click on Save. Awesome, so that's out of the way now. Now, next up, what we need to do is jump over to VizMaker. So you can see right now that it doesn't look that photorealistic. I mean the overall scene, because it's from Google Earth, of course. It doesn't need to have that high of a quality, does it? So, but that's where VizMaker comes in. Because if we want to actually give it a little bit more of high quality, we're going to be actually using a prompt from our preset tab. And let me, first of all, before I jump into all of the buttons that and options that we have in here, let me first bring our site that we just downloaded from Google Earth. The only thing that I have to do is just to click and drag it over to our canvas in here. All right. Now, while that's loading, oopsie daisy, let me just go ahead and place it over here because we're starting from scratch. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how everything looks inside VizMaker. All right. So arguably the most important section that we have in here is the right on the right side. For example, in here on the top we have Preview, we have Compare and Draw. But the most important section out of this right bar is the AI models. For example, in here, the first thing that I want to do, as I just mentioned before, is to give it a little bit of a boost to this image so that it looks more photorealistic, more cinematic. All right. So the first thing that we have to do is to enhance our Google Earth image. For this, I'm going to use the image editor. However, as you can see, we not only have image editor, but we also have image creator, image upscaler, video creator, and 3D model. But for now, let's stick to image editor. Additionally, we have the most advanced AI models out there on the market right now, which are Google Nano Banana, we have ChatGPT, and Seedream. We also have Flux, but for this particular case, what we need to do is to go ahead and grab Nano Banana Pro. I'm going to also mention the difference between Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2 in just a second, but for now, let's just stick with it. Next up, we have the resolution. So in the resolution, we have 1K, 2K, and even 4K. I'm going to stick with 2K. I wouldn't suggest to go down or lower than 2K because that's a little bit too low. So I'm going to be sticking with 2K, and for the aspect ratio, I'm going to go with 3:4. Because I'm aiming for this to be an Instagram post, all right? But if you guys want to use something more vertical for Reels or TikTok, you can absolutely go with something like 9:16. But for now, I'm going to go and select 3:4. Okay, there's a question on the chat, so let me go through it really quick. Is the stream going to be later on YouTube? Expect on YouTube? Yep, later on in a while. So I would suggest to stick around if you want to make some questions, because I'm going to be answering you guys if you have any questions that you want to throw out. Okay, so now I'm going to click on this image, and you'll see that a node appears. So VizMaker, it's an app that actually works with a node-based system, which makes everything super smooth and faster for your workflow. For example, also right now, what we need to do, obviously, is to add realism to this image right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of our prompt presets that can be found down here at the bottom. So we have view to render, for example, if you want to immediately go ahead and render something from your 3D model, such as 3ds Max that you guys mentioned that you worked with it, like Rhino, 3ds Max, and SketchUp, you can absolutely go ahead and work from those without the need to add any materials or textures or lighting. So right now I'm going to use add realism, okay? And you'll see that this is a nice crafted prompt that is there already for us. So you don't really have to think of a prompt. And by the way, all of these prompt presets that we have in here are constantly updated by the VizAcademy team, all right? So there's plenty of stuff that you can do in here, not only add realism or select the view to render. So in this case, I'm going to stick with add realism, and I'm going to make sure that I'm using Nano Banana Pro and click on make. You can see that this node started running, which is great. So I'm also going to go ahead and, as you know, sometimes with AI, we don't get what we want at the first try. So this is very, very helpful because I can actually go ahead and click make again a couple of times. And we're going to be having 3 different iterations being made simultaneously, all right? Sure, please share the link for the SketchUp modeling, absolutely. Let me go ahead and find it. So I think it's this one right here. I'm gonna be placing it on the chat so you guys can follow along. Okay, let's go back to VizMaker now. Great, awesome. So let's see the difference. Now, it's really helpful sometimes for us to compare images, right? So in this case, for example, I'm going to right click on this one and I'm going to select compare A. Then if I want to compare with another one that we have over here, I'm going to right click and click on compare B. Then I can jump into enlarge, and you'll see that we have this slider which will help us to compare the images that we have created. In this case, I think that the one on the right side is really a lot more precise than the one on the left, okay? So in this case, I think I'm going to go with this one. And also if I go down here, there's another one over here, which is great as well, actually. So in that case, I think I'm also going to be comparing this one with this other one over here. So let me know also, guys, on the chat, are you guys new to the AI world or industry? Are you taking it from scratch, or do you guys have any experience with it? So again, compare A, compare B. So yeah, let me know on the chat if you guys have any experience at all with AI, or is this the first time you guys are picking it up? Okay, I think the one on the right side actually is a lot better because we have some shadows. It looks a little bit, it has more depth into it. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with a third one. Additionally, if you want to keep things clean here on the canvas, you can double click on this node, for example, and just hit delete it. You can also go ahead and pick this one down here and delete it as well. Already working with this VizMaker, awesome. And I'm guessing your experience has been quite pleasant so far. So what about the everyone? Are you guys new to the AI world? Do you have any experience with it? Do you feel comfortable with it or not yet? Okay, awesome. So once we have our image ready, it's time to go into our SketchUp model again. So let's head over to SketchUp, and remember that we were also checking out the proportions of this, which is a rectangular shaped geometry, right? So in this case, we need to be careful not to change, basically not to select a view in which the proportions of this lot has a different shape, like for example a square or a longer rectangle, or I don't know, a circular form. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. And in this case, I believe the longer side is actually the one on the left and right sides. Okay, it's just a matter of perspective in here. But for example, if I go over here, I'm going to make sure to also pick a view that resembles the Google Maps view or our Google Earth screenshot that we took. So for example, something around this point should do, okay? All right, as you can see, I also have a VizMaker button in here, which is really, really helpful because once I press this button, this 3D model will be exported right away onto VizMaker so that we can start working on it quickly. So in order for you to download this, you just need to go ahead and download VizMaker and then head over to settings. Inside settings, you'll see that we have this plugins tab in here. And once I click on it, you'll see all of the software that VizMaker actually supports. So most of you were working with Revit, you were also working with Rhino and 3ds Max, so you can see that VizMaker actually supports all of these software for you. Okay? Very pleasant, glad to hear that. That's amazing. It started not that recently, but still struggle to manage the proper prompt. Yeah, right. Sometimes thinking of a prompt is a little bit complicated, but as you can see, we also can help you out in here with VizMaker with some prompt presets, all right? I'm also going to be giving you some hints during the webinar of how to handle those prompt problems. First time, wow, okay, great. That's why we're taking this from scratch for all of you guys that are new to AI, to the AI industry. Okay, does VizMaker support ArchiCAD? Soon. Actually, it does, as you can see in here. I don't mean soon. ArchiCAD 26. I was thinking of another software for some reason, but absolutely, we do support ArchiCAD. You can see it right here. Okay, so for example, right now I'm working with this version of SketchUp, so you can select any version of SketchUp that you are used to. In my case, I'm used to this old version, but I need to upgrade, of course. So I'm going to stick with that one, and then you can click on OK, and that's going to add the plugin right into your canvas over here. All right. So again, once you have a nice perspective of your project, you can just go ahead and click on this button. So let me just jump ahead and click on the VizMaker button. All right. Then make sure that you have VizMaker opened and then head over to the rendering tab over here. I've clicked on enlarge, so to go out from this window in here, you just need to click on enlarge again. Okay, so we need to wait for a couple of seconds until the image loads because the 3D model is actually quite heavy. So keep that in mind for you guys following along. Don't panic if the image is not here right away. And we actually have it in here, okay? So, nice. Now that we have our side rendered and our model, which needs to actually also match the perspective that we have up here. Okay, so it roughly follows it. You can be a little bit more precise than I have been right now, but I think the perspective actually makes a lot of sense. Another thing that I want to mention, if you guys are having issues or trouble creating a nice view, is if I go back to SketchUp, remember that you can also adjust the lens length here on the software. I'm going to click on Z, on the shortcut Z, and you'll see that I have this magnifying glass icon going on in here. If I press the Shift key alongside the left mouse button, you'll see that at the bottom right corner, we have the focal length, which is actually the lens value, okay? If I press the Shift key while I'm holding and pressing the left key of the mouse and zooming out, you can see that the focal length now, it's around 17 or 18 millimeters. But this actually is adds a little bit of distortion, so we need to be careful with that. All right, in my case, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and go all the way to around 45 millimeters. Okay, something around this point I think would make the perspective a little bit better. Okay, so I'm trying to match the perspective that we have over on our Google Earth in here. So something around this point should be a little bit better, I think. Okay, so again, think about the lens length or your focal length as SketchUp likes to call it. And then we can press the VizMaker button again so that it imports the newly created view over here, okay? Okay, so we have some new questions in here. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments, guys. So, does VizMaker support? Yes. Can you show the final glimpse of the visualization? Please, because when we see the final result, this webinar will be great. Yes, of course. I actually was showing you the final visual at the beginning. So this is exactly the 3D model that we're working on right now, right? So you can see the stunning photorealistic render that we can create from a single image, and also when we place the actual project into Google, into a site from Google Earth. Okay, so this is another view. And again, this is everything that we're going to be going through the webinar today. Also some top views, very dynamic top views, okay? And at the end of the webinar, I'm also going to go ahead and teach you how to edit a final animation, all right? So that's gonna be quite amazing. Yep, so this is the final result that we're going to be producing today, guys. Is there a way to import the model without the plugin? Yes, but I would suggest you to go ahead and download it. But if, for example, for some reason we don't support your software just yet, and let us know in the comment if you want us to also support a 3D software that you guys didn't see over here in settings. Okay, let us know. Yeah, the way that you can do that is actually by just taking a screenshot of your 3D model. For example, if you're not working with VizMaker, you can, in my case, I usually use the snipping tool from Windows, and then I'll just create new and create a quick screenshot like this of your view. In this case, you can just go ahead and copy it. So if I click on copy, and then I can go ahead, right click, and paste it on VizMaker. And that's another way that you can do it. Okay, is there a way? Yep. So you manually adjust the focal length. Yes, sometimes I manually adjust the focal length, of course, depending on the view that I'm creating. One downside, as you can see, of going just with a screenshot is that it's actually also going to be adding some additional things like the axes that SketchUp has. All right. And you can see that VizMaker actually imports a very clean version of your 3D model. Is this webinar kept on YouTube or just at this time only? We're probably going to be available for YouTube later, but I will suggest you to stay until the very end in case you have any questions, all right? Awesome, guys. Amazing. Okay, so let's keep on rolling. Now, I think the one that we're going to be sticking with, can see maybe this one over here, which was the first one, all right? So let me just grab this one. Once I grab the base image, I like to call it, which is going to be our Google Earth image. Okay, so for some of you guys just joined in, so this is how everything's looking, really, really photorealistic and cinematic. Okay, so once I have this one, you'll see that an extra input node is also there. In here, we can add references or extra images, such as our 3D model. All right, so what I'm going to do is just to connect it over to the input slot over here, and then on Nano Banana Pro, I'm going to be changing it to Nano Banana 2. Why I'm going to change it? Because Nano Banana Pro is actually used for more detailed changes, like very precise detailed changes, but it also lacks a little bit of creativity. And that is where Nano Banana 2 comes in. So if you want to add a little bit of more of creativity rather, I would suggest you to go with Nano Banana 2. In this case, we do need a little bit more of artistry, if you will. So I'm going to be picking Nano Banana 2. All right. So once in here, again, we can select the resolution. I'm going to head over to 2K, and on the aspect ratio, I'm going to select 3:4. It's still a vertical format, but not as vertical, because I also want to keep some of the details that you can see at the sides there. All right. So now I'm going to show you a prompt that you can use in order to place this 3D model onto this side over here. Okay. So the prompt goes something like this. I'm also going to be sharing this prompt with you right here, because I think I'm not going to be placing it down here, because last time I made that mistake because you guys couldn't actually see the prompt because of my head. So this is actually the prompt that we're going to be using. So insert the provided architectural model into the highlighted area only. So we also need to highlight the area. I'm going to show you how in just a second. Match exact scale and so on and so forth. So you can go ahead and pause the video for a bit so you can copy this exact same prompt in here. Okay, so I keep this prompt just in case because I know you guys love to ask me for the prompts. Of course, it makes sense, and sometimes I can't really read all of it. So I've prepared this very small notepad so you guys can see it and copy it if you want. Whoopsie daisy. Okay, so yeah, another thing to keep in mind is that we wanted to make it photorealistic, right? And this is inside our prompt preset, inside the Add Realism prompt preset. Okay, so keep that in mind that some of these prompts are already here on our preset list. Okay, so I'm going to be grabbing it and pasting the prompt right here. Okay, also I've added the context. For example, here we have the Hudson Yards. So even though we already have this image in here where we can see the overall site, it's also a little bit helpful for Nano Banana to have it on the prompt, so to make it a little bit more consistent. Okay, so I'm gonna be clicking in here. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, the render looks amazing. Thanks for your nice comment there. Awesome. So again, I'm going to be placing or connecting this into the input slot there. Make sure to paste the prompt. Also, another thing to keep an eye out is that we are working with Nano Banana 2 in this case, so I'm going to be sending it away now. Again, as I mentioned before, sometimes creating multiple variations, it's going to be a lot faster and more efficient. And also we are going to be able to compare the different results. Let me place these over here because we're not going to be using them just now. Okay, guys? I'm going to be creating a third one. Okay, so click on the base image, then connect to the 3D model and make sure to paste the prompt again and click on make once more. All right, so now I can go ahead, and also we forgot to actually highlight the area, remember? So in this case, Nano Banana was smart enough to figure out where I want to place these buildings, right? Because the lot where we are actually placing all of this is completely empty. So Nano Banana, and also centered, of course. So the AI model from Google was actually smart enough to place the buildings in here. Okay. However, in some cases, Nano Banana is not that smart, believe it or not. So if you're having issues trying to figure out or actually having issues with the results you're getting, it's a good practice to go ahead and use the draw tool that we have in here. So if I click on enlarge and then click on draw, we have some additional tools that we can use. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on draw. All right. And I'm going to actually highlight the lot where this is going to be, which is right here. And then we can go ahead and write the prompt again. Okay, so loss of scale. Yeah, loss of scale is also in the prompt, or if you mean the results. Yeah, probably a little bit. I'm with you there. In this case, we can actually also go ahead and create a silhouette of the overall scale of the project. For example, I can go ahead and just draw where the towers are at, or I can even go back to the scale, to the 3D model, the SketchUp version, and create another view from there. Additionally, I can go back to Google Earth in here and make sure to create a more closer view of the lot in here. Okay, so you have multiple ways of trying to control this outcome. All right, but again, I think this could be good enough for the moment for us. And actually, let me see which one is better. I think the one, this one is going to be better. I think also the size of the lot is not like that big. Okay, so yeah, I'm with you. We can go ahead and pick another view from Google Earth in here. Probably this one. Okay, so also keep in mind that this is to keep everything consistent. you can also tweak a little bit the view from Google Earth and at the same time from SketchUp, or you can even go ahead and draw it inside VizMaker. All right. So something around this point could give us a little bit more of a more accurate version of it. Okay, so I'm going to click on Save Image again, and site webinar. This is going to be version 2, but I don't really want to spend that much time because that's something that needs a little bit of adjustment. Okay, and you can go back to it yourselves. Okay, so moving on while that's loading over there. The next step is for us to go ahead and create another view from this view that we have right here. All right, in this case, what I want to do is actually to create a view or a POV shot. So I'm going to go back to SketchUp, and in here, you'll see that our results are going to be extra accurate. Okay, in this case, what I want to do is probably create a view from this angle or this corner over here. So I'm going to just double click on Google Earth. Then we can head over to this left side over here. Or let's pick another view. Probably we can move a little bit to this side. Okay, so now we're going to a POV shot. Let me walk a little bit towards the lot. And also, whoops, that's too much. Yeah, something around this point should do. Okay. So let me check out, maybe this view should do. Or actually it's loading a little bit for some reason. So let's wait for it to load. Actually, I think there's a photo in here. So we can place the camera somewhere there. Or just double click on it to be a little bit more faster. Okay, awesome. So I found the photo. Okay, so there's also, for the ones who don't know, Google Earth, of course, has some photos that you can use instead of jumping into the Street View map. Okay, there we go. Let me just go ahead and pick a nice view. So something around this point should do. I already have the settings done over here, and you can also change the resolution if you want. So you can head over to, for example, for a horizontal format, you can pick 920 by 1080, for example, but right now I'm sticking with this version instead. So I'm going to click on Save Image, and this is going to be our POV shot. Okay, and then I'm going to head over to VizMaker and import it again. So we have an aerial shot where let's go with a POV shot now. And let me find it somewhere over here. So click and drag it. So awesome. Also, let me know if this kind of stuff is helpful for you guys. Are you going to try it out yourself with your own projects? I'm sure some of you have some pending build projects to create. And I think this could be quite helpful for you guys as well. Also, let me know what else should we be thinking about for another webinar. If you guys are enjoying our webinars and you're finding them helpful, let us know what other webinars or workshops you'd like to see on our channels next. Now, remember that we're going for this corner, so I'm going to match it. So I'm going to drag the camera over here, and let's make sure that we are not showcasing anything beneath it because it looks quite strange, right? And this case, I think, because we need to address the issue of the loss of scale there, we can also tweak a little bit the focal length, okay? So in order for us to create create a perception that the building is actually huge or has this large scale, we need to, again, play around with the focal length. So if I zoom a little bit, like so, and then press the Shift key while holding and pressing the left mouse button, you'll see that, again, I'm tweaking a little bit the focal length. So if we go with a lower value on it, you'll see that the scale changes, okay? And now we have like a perception that this building is actually super tall. So let me just change it again. I think I went overboard a little bit. Okay, so something around this point should do. Okay, now we are going to be seeing that this is actually pretty huge. I don't want to distort the view so much, so let me just go ahead and pick something that we can use. Okay, I think this would do. Something around this this perspective or this corner is gonna do beautifully. All right. After that, again, we can send it away with our super VizMaker button. Okay. By the way, guys, if any of you guys are into the reseller industry, we're actually looking for some resellers. So it doesn't matter where you guys are from. If you want to go ahead and work with us, please leave us an email or reach us. Yeah, you can leave us an email or reach out to us in case you guys are resellers, okay? Because we need some CAD resellers right now. We're expanding a lot and we need new team members as well. So if that's something that interests you, please go ahead and reach out to us, okay? Okay, awesome. So we have it here. And now again, we want to place our building onto this side. However, in order to make things easier for Nano Banana, what we can do is to clean up the terrain or the lot a little bit better. So in that case, I can go ahead into Nano Banana Pro. Remember, that's a little bit more precise. I'm going to head over and pick the 2K resolution. And in this time, I'm going to tell it to remove the, whoops, I don't want caps. So remove the green boundary wall, leave empty lot, leave empty lot. Okay, that's gonna be actually super helpful. And also I need to remove the text from Google Earth, remove any text as well. Okay, yeah, let's send it away. I'm going to be sending it away like 3 times, I think. And once more, once again. Okay, there we go. Great. Let's wait for them to load. Okay, what if we just download the Google Earth topographic map and add our model without any loss and works on that images? Yes, of course, that's another workaround if you want to try that out. If you were going to go with that, let me know how that goes. That should be pretty interesting. Okay, so let's see, enlarge. Okay, awesome. So you can see that our lot is nice and clean now. Let's see if we can use this one instead. Yeah, I think this one works even better. And last but not least, and remember we can compare it. So if I compare A and then compare B, let's click on enlarge now. We can see which one works better. I think a better perspective is the third one over here that we have right in here. So let me just remove or place these ones over here. Okay, great. And now what we want to do is to use our super prompt again. So if you guys missed it, I'm going to be using this prompt again, which is insert the provided architectural model into the highlighted area only. Match exact scale, perspective, and camera angle of the photo. Okay, this is super important to align everything. And last but not least, we also have this bit of the prompt where it's actually our prompt preset. Okay, so let me copy this prompt in here. And also, while I'm here, I'm going to enlarge this. Okay, and to have a better perception of the scale for our outcome, I'm going to go ahead and click on the draw tool. Now I'm going to pick the marker and I'll actually, is it a little bit, I think I can do that. I can do better. So if you want to delete whatever you drew in here, for example, in here I actually drew, so I can click on this bin icon and we'll be good to go. Okay, so we can actually place it over here. Okay, now that we have that set, I'm going to go out from the enlarge interface and input this building or a 3D model that we have right in here. Okay, once I do that, I'm going to also be pasting our prompt and I'm going to change from Nano Banana Pro to Nano Banana 2. Make sure we're sticking with 2K and the aspect ratio just to make sure we can use a 3:4 ratio there. Okay, now let's click on make. Awesome. Let's wait for it to load and then we can, let's create it around two times more. Okay, I'm going to be connecting it in here, then click on make. Let's wait for it. Make sure you're using Nano Banana 2. Remember, I've already told you the difference. So keep that in mind. Awesome. Okie dokie. Yep, let me know if you guys are following along just fine. This one looks great. Okay, you can see that still we need to refine it a little bit more because Nano Banana 2 was a little bit too precise. So I think too precise, I'd say, that it actually placed the building in here. Okay, so once we select the one that did the best in this case, if I go to the draw tab, you can see that it's following along exactly the same box that I drew, as you can see. So it even respected the overall height. Okay, so what we can do instead is not to draw anything and see, because when we don't give any parameters to Nano Banana, we are actually given a little bit more of artistry levels or creativity levels to the AI model. Okay, so the less detailed we are with our prompt or drawings, the more creativity we're going to be giving to the AI. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. I'm going to probably keep this, okay, just to keep things flowing in here. So in this case, what I can do is to use our add realism prompt preset. So from this image, we can add it and make everything more consistent and realistic. So you can see that our prompt looks something like this. Make this render photorealistic, add shadows, contrast, light, and enhance textures. Okay, so let's make it again a couple of times. All right, and there we go. Let's wait for it. Again, if you guys don't want to use the draw, because for example in this case you can see that it absolutely followed my drawing in here, so that should tackle a little bit about the scaling issues that we had before. Maybe my drawing wasn't that precise. Okay, so let's keep that in mind as well. I'm going to clear all in here, and I'm going to go ahead and create it again without me interfering there. Okay, in the meantime, we can see that we have some nice, really nice results in here. Okay, so this looks very good actually, and I think the scale, it's I think I kind of nailed it. Let me know what you guys think of my drawing there. Okay, this one looks awesome as well, even better I think. And last but not least, remember that we can compare, so not sure why I'm going one by one. If I can just go ahead and compare it here. Okay, nice depth here. I think we can stick with this one. I don't know, I really like this one as well, so maybe I'll just stick with that one. Okay, so let me see. Can you explain the difference between Nano Banana 2 and Nano Banana Pro again? Of course. So Nano Banana Pro is actually used for more precise and detailed stuff. Okay, while Nano Banana 2, it's like an artist basically. So it has lots of creativity. It has a higher creativity value, if you will. So Nano Banana Pro is more precise. It can remove things more precisely. But if you want to add, let's say, more people or more cars, and sometimes I kind of used Nano Banana in this way to add foreground objects, for example. So just a quick example in here. Sometimes I want to add some objects on the foreground because it's whatever we have created, in some cases it lacks a little bit of depth. Okay, so I can probably just like draw a tree like so, and then go ahead into Nano Banana 2 and type in create a tree or place a tree on the marked area. Let me just make that for you. So place a tree on a marked area, on the marked area on the foreground. For depth, let's also tell it why, just in case, for depth. Okay, so I'm gonna click on make, for example. And also now let's try something with Nano Banana Pro. So the first ones are gonna be Nano Banana 2, and that one, it actually changed right away. Okay, so let's see the difference. It probably needs a couple of tries there, but let's see if I can make my my statement clear there, okay? So, okay, so we have the first one with Nano Banana 2. Actually, that was pretty fast, okay? And this looks pretty good and pretty accurate. You can see that I drew something there, and I'm really, really sure that if I tried a couple of extra times, it's gonna even be better, okay? And then we have Nano Banana Pro. Of course, this is actually quite surprising as well. Oh no, I think it's messing up with me. I think Nano Banana Pro, because you actually saw that I changed the AI model right away. So let me change that just to make my point clear. Okay, so I'm gonna pick draw and then Nano Banana Pro. Original, yes, and yeah, place a tree on the foreground. For depth, yeah, let's go ahead and on the marked area. Okay, let's see what I can get there. Okay, so let's move on. You can see that that's one way of also using VizMaker. If you want to add stuff there, you can just draw it. And also, sometimes I just draw some people as well there. So to add more depth into the image, you can also go ahead and let's delete this tree. And let's say I want to add a person in here, so I can add a silhouette of a person. And I would want, those are not arms, by the way, that's where the guy is looking. So let me try that again. Okay, so we have the person looking at the architecture. And we can use, in that case, again, Nano Banana 2, and then we can create some additional elements, okay? Yeah, this is Nano Banana Pro. It's not really following my drawing that I had before of the tree, okay? But it's also doing a pretty good job. I'm not gonna lie. But again, Nano Banana 2 is way better for these kind of artistic approaches. All right. So let me, yeah, I'm not sure if I should delete. Let me just delete those because they're gonna be on the way. All right. So yeah, which means Nano Banana Pro is for high-end visualization and Nano Banana 2 is for concept level, right? That's one way of taking it. Okay. But I usually actually use it, Nano Banana 2, I actually use it for all of the edits that I do for my visualization projects. Let's say that I want to remove a car or a person, that's when I'm going to be using Nano Banana Pro. But if I want to add something, a person or a tree, like add more depth into the image, I would use Nano Banana 2. In next session, can you make cinematic intro in 3ds Max plus AI? Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually. Thanks for the suggestion. We'll keep that in mind. What's your best combo overall, or is it dependent on workflow? Okay, my best combo, it's actually the one I'm teaching you right now. So first of all, you start with Nano Banana Pro for some precision, and then you start adding some stuff with Nano Banana 2. For example, if I use this same prompt that I used in here with Nano Banana Pro, the results are not going to be good at all. I'm going to make a quick example shortly, but first of all, when we are placing everything, just use Nano Banana Pro, just as a base. Then to give more richness to your and high-end visualization to your image, you can start using Nano Banana 2, all right? After that, as you can see, after we actually tweak the same image over and over again, the resolution starts to decrease a little bit, okay? So that's another thing to keep in mind. So I want to make this, I want to actually highlight this, that when you're editing the same image over and over again, it starts to lose a little bit of resolution. Everything starts to look a little bit blurry. So speaking about my workflow, when I reach that point, which is gonna be like 2 to 3 creations in, that's when we have to enhance the image, okay? So when you reach that point, when you start to see some defects or blurry artifacts on your image, you want to refine it. The way to do that, if I go into the up here, I'm gonna be changing from image editor to image upscaler now. You can see that within VizMaker we have plenty image upscalers, and in this case I have the best ones, my favorite ones are Magnific Creative and Magnific Precision. All right, what's the difference between these? Okay, Magnific Creative, just as Nano Banana 2 that we were talking, it's a little bit more creative, but it enhances the overall visualization a little bit better. while magnific precision is not going to change anything from your image, it's only going to be enhancing the resolution. Let's say your image is 2K. Magnific precision is not going to change anything, but the resolution is going to be 4K after you use it. However, magnific creative will actually give a little bit more of details, very subtle details like lighting and color correction to your visualization. So in that case, we can go ahead and use magnific creative, okay? Now, within that AI model, we have some extra tools that we can use, such as creativity, HDR, which is the detail strength. It's going to give you a little bit more of contrast, and similarity. The prompt strength, I'm not going to be worrying that too much about it, okay? But in this case, we have to be very careful with the creativity values. If I go ahead and use something like 5 or 8, it's going to change our image a lot. So keeping it at around 1 or 2, it's going to be more than enough. For detail strength, we want also very low values, because if I go over to 10, for example, that's going to make our image have too much contrast, which is going to make this, it's going to give us this burnt effect on the image. So we don't want that. Let's keep this also quite low. And similarity, we can leave it at 0, okay? Because we also want to incorporate a little bit of extra creativity from magnific. And if I actually increase this value, we're not going to let the creativity of magnific step in. So let's keep it at 0 as well. Once we have this, let's click on make. Please select the image. Okay, let me just select the image again and click on make. Okay, and then we can wait for it until everything upscales nicely. All right. Okay, awesome. So we have almost our second view ready. In this case, I actually missed adding some more people on the foreground for a little bit more of depth there. We can absolutely do that. So if I go ahead and click in here, or we can actually just wait for the creative process or magnific process to end, so that we can add a few more people for a little bit more of storytelling there. Okay. So count me in for your next session. Thank you so much. I hope to see you there as well. Okay, so now let's jump in and see what other views we can create for the ones that we have already created up here. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, guys, keep suggesting what type of webinars you want to see next, so that we can keep those in mind. All right. Next up, what I want to do is to create a totally new view from this same perspective. All right. Again, we have to change from image upscaler to image editor. I'm going to again stick with Nano Banana 2 because we want a little bit more of creative process, right? And now the prompt that I'm going to be using, let's check it out. I'm going to be using this POV shot prompt. Okay, I guess this is really, really helpful for you. For a POV shot, you can see that I'm going to be using the word transform. The word transform is actually really, really helpful when you want to create something new out of something that we already have. For example, in this case, a new view. So the word transform is very powerful as a prompt. Keep that in mind. So transform this into a realistic street level photo, eye level view from sidewalk, human perspective, focus on the central building in the background. White street foreground, pedestrians, yellow taxis. So we are adding something that you'll probably see in New York, for example. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. I'm going to be copying this prompt. You guys are welcome to pause the video and copy it yourselves. I'm going to make sure that I'm sticking with Nano Banana 2 and that the resolution is at 2K. Let's go ahead and see what we can create now. So let's make it a few times. While that is going on, you can see how fast the workflow is. While I'm creating these, I can jump into this other view and keep on working on this other one as well. So in this case, I want to add a little bit more of people, and we can now compare this image. So compare A, then compare B, and click on the enlarge. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to see the detail, and you'll see how much better the image on the left looks. You can see the people, they are looking much, much better. They're not blurry at all. And even we have enhanced the overall texture of everything. So this is the power of Magnific Creative. Okay, I know we can see some artifacts in here, as you can see. we can remove them with Nano Banana Pro, and in that case we can upscale it again with Nano Banana, the precision, the magnific precision. I mean, the card looks awesome as well. Okay, but because we're in such a wide view in here, those are barely visible, right? But the overall scene, you can see the colors are much richer. Okay, the blue tones are there, and everything has a little bit more of contrast, so it looks even better now. Okay, so I can take it from here and keep on working with it. Let's see what we have in here now. Okay, awesome. So any of these views really look great. I think I can stick with this one. This one looks really hyper realistic, and we can see our project over there, which is great. I really love this view. Yeah, everything looks amazing. Lots of details, lots of depth. We can see some extra details such as the motion blur effect. I think this one looks really, really good. Whoop, I repeated looks for some reason. Looks really, really great. Okay, so moving on to this one, let's add some people. So add a few people walking on the street, or pedestrian street, or a few people walking on the street. Can't remember the name of it. On the crossing, zebra crossing, I guess it was. Or we can just leave it like that. Nano Banana is smart enough for me to understand me. So add a few people walking on the street, and to add more depth. Okay, so let's change this to Nano Banana 2 and make it. Okay, let's move on now. I think we need another view, another very interesting view. I think it's gonna be from the top view. Okay. Additionally, what we can do is to change this overall lighting, but let's just wait for the people to jump into the scene so that we can change this from daytime to nighttime. Okay. Now let's jump into SketchUp again. In this case, I think a top view is gonna look a lot better. So let me just place this over here. So something like this should look very, very interesting. Let me see if I can also tweak a little bit the lens length to have a better view. Something around this point should do. Okay, awesome. Great. Let me send this image to our VizMaker. So click on this button again. And if I go back to Google Earth, we're going to be having to place our camera on the top there. So let me go back. And I'm going to be placing my camera on the top of our lot, which is this one over here. I know I'm using the whole lot in here, but I think a better choice would have been to just use this one. But because our site is so huge, that's why I took the whole block there. Okay, something like this where we can see the surrounding buildings as well to give a little bit more context on our visualization. Okay, something around this point should do, guys. Okay, let's save this image. And this one's gonna be called Top View, Google Earth. Great. Yeah, so let's see. Consistency is my problem. Same building object from different views. How can the surroundings added by AI be the same in different perspectives? So that's one thing to keep in mind, that if you don't have a site, like for example, in this one, we can actually be pretty consistent, as you can see, because we're defining the perspective of where we are placing the camera. And you can actually match that on your 3D model. So for example, if I go back over here, we need to also grab the camera on Google Earth and place it on the back corner. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. If you don't have a site yet, then obviously it's gonna be a little bit difficult to remain consistent if you don't have any photos of your site. But you can absolutely use this type of workflow to merge your 3D model with your site photos. Okay, this is pretty powerful in my opinion. Let me know if you guys agree with that. Can you make different views but all materials are the same? because if different views got different results, it's not going to work on high-end detailed design project. Because if different views got different results, yeah, of course. I mean, in that case, if you want to also be consistent with the materials, I would suggest you to use ChatGPT, for example. Okay, but I mean, using Nano Banana Pro, it's already pretty consistent in my opinion. I haven't had any issues. Also, it helps if your 3D model already has materials, as this one, for example. Okay. So one way to keep everything super consistent is to already add materials in your 3D model. It doesn't have to be rendered, and it doesn't have to have any lighting. But as long as you have some materials in here, these will remain consistent in Nano Banana. Okay, so also keep that in mind. Okay, if you want to have everything consistent, make sure that you have some side photos. Make sure that your 3D model already has some materials, and also that we have a proper scale on the materials, on the textures, okay? In that case, guys, if you want to learn how to create 3D models and also textures to keep everything nice and consistent, you can check our course, our complete 3D modeling course, okay? So let me place it over here. And visit us at VizAcademy.co.uk. Here we're going to be learning how to create really high-end photorealistic results, like such as these ones that were created by our students. We're also going to be teaching animation, so lighting, texture, 3D modeling, everything to keep everything consistent all the time, guys. So if that's something that you want, please go ahead and check us out. Okay, let's jump back into VizMaker now. Okay, so we have our 3D model in here, and the first thing that we have to do, you already know that, is that we have to render this view out. We have already looked at the prompt for that, which is this one over here, okay? Actually, it's not that one. And no, not that one either. Okay, I think I have another prompt which is going to be way more effective for you guys. To insert the or make this photorealistic, which is actually the same one, I think. Yeah, let's just add realism in here. Okay. Actually, this is not the site, is it, guys? Yeah, I messed up. This is not the site. This is the 3D model, actually. So let's go ahead and bring in the site. Where was it? Okay, here it is. So click and drag it. I almost made a mistake there, but however, if you want to also have a photorealistic result right from your 3D model, you can absolutely use the view to render preset in here, and it's gonna create some magic results there. Okay, so we have our Google site. Now let's add realism by using our prompt preset in here. And yeah, I'm gonna stick with Nano Banana Pro in this case, to keep everything nice and consistent. Let me throw it 3 times in here. Awesome. Great. And let's wait for those results. In the meantime, I also want to play with these ones. Let's see who won in here. I think there's too many people. What do you guys think? Is there too many people in here or not? I think it's a little bit overcrowded on the right side. So I might stick with the first one, because we already have some people here, which looks pretty nice. Okay, now the next thing that you can do is to change the overall mood of this. So for example, if I head over to prompt presets, and let's say that you now want this image to be in a winter season, you can go all the way down here and click on winter, for example. So let me click once. We can also go ahead and transform it to autumn, for example. So if I click on autumn, this will give us a nice prompt, which again is has been made by our VizAcademy team. So all of these prompt presets are consistently being updated by us. So let's click on make there again. And let's keep everything nice and clean. I'm going to be probably deleting some of our nodes to avoid any chaos on our interface, okay? So we have, for example, a winter version now, which is looking great. So nice and detailed. You can see how the road is looking, just amazing. And it has actually also fixed some of the issues that we had over on this side. Even the truck is now complete on the magnific version. It was all actually chopped out. So you can see that Nano Banana starts to fix everything right away. Obviously, the people need to have some jackets, but that's something that we can add with Nano Banana Pro as well. Okay, we also have some autumn variations. This is looking really, really great. I like the foggy effect in here with all the depthness and the reflections on the street. This is looking awesome. I really like this version. It's very cinematic, actually. So that's another thing that you can do. Change the mood just by using one click in seconds. I'm going to be sticking with this one because it's just completely great. Okay, and also we can transform this into nighttime. Okay, so if I pick this image and then head over to the nighttime version, you can see that we have a nice prompt over here as well, which we can use. So again, let's make it, because for our final animation, I'm also thinking of creating a nighttime version there. Okay, now let's jump over here and let me see if you guys have any other questions. Why does the program have a plugin for Unreal Engine instead of Twinmotion? Will it be supported? I'm guessing it should be supported by Twinmotion, but I would have to double check on that. Thank you for your question. If you want to have a faster answer for that, you can absolutely leave us an email and we'll reach out right away, guys. Okay, let's see which one is better here. I think I'm going with the first one. So double click, enlarge. This one looking great, guys. Awesome. So now that we have our photorealistic image from Google, we can start to plug in our 3D model over here. Okay, so now I'm going to use my prompt again, which is going to be for to incorporate our 3D model into our site in here. So Control C and Control V. Let's make it 2K resolution. Let's make sure we're using Nano Banana 2. We have already discussed why there. So let's click Make. Awesome, guys. Okay, so I think we are getting close to the animation phase or stage. So have you guys ever tried animation with AI before? Or not at all? Because we're going to be doing that right now. So I'm going to be picking the most interesting results that we have. So for example, in this one, I think this is going to be the most interesting one. And in this case, if I want to create an animation, I'm going to be having to go into the image editor and use the video creator now. Okay, so instead of VO, well, you can see that we have so many AI models in here. You will be wondering if you're new to AI. So let me know also in the comments. I know some of you guys are, but let me know if you guys are new to the AI animation process too. In this case, we have VO, which is from Google. We have Kling, we have Seedance, Sora, and One. Now for this type of animation, and by the way, Seedance 2.0 just recently launched, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. So if you want to create some really crazy, interesting animations, I would suggest you to pick Seedance 2.0. But for now, as I just want some people walking by and also some very subtle animation from the camera, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with Kling 01. So I'm going to pick on Kling 01 in here. And thanks for this webinar. What is the pricing for VizMaker AI? Is it free? Yes, actually. You can have some credits for free if you're just starting out with it. And thanks a lot for your kind comments. Really glad you guys are enjoying it. And you have multiple pricing plans for VizMaker, which once you download it, you can actually check the pricing over on organization. Actually, no, it's on account, right? So you have some of our pricings very affordable, and even with a standard plan, you can create very, very high-end results. Okay, so you can download VizMaker, test it out, because you do have some free credits you can get, and then yeah, you can make the choice for yourself. I would highly suggest you to do it. It's really, really great and efficient. Okay, so now with Video Creator Kling 01, what I wanted the camera to do in this case is to have a very subtle zoom in to the building while people are walking by and cars are also passing through. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you have actually already tried animation. I had, but when I try to make people move, either they go through the project or make random people appear unrealistically. Okay, so let me know what AI model you used for that. Because right now they're so powerful. For example, Kling01, it's extremely powerful, and I don't think you'd have that type of animation. Let's test it ourselves now. Furthermore, there's Seedance 2.0, which is even more powerful. So let's see. Let's go with a prompt with camera zoom in slowly. And then we want to see the interactions of the people, right? So in this case, people walking naturally. So the word naturally, it's also pretty important. People walking naturally. And do we want the cars moving or not? Cars moving slowly, probably. Also, if you don't want any people added to your animation, like ghosts, sometimes appears, you sometimes have some ghosts or apparitions walking around, you can also use the word current. So when you use the word current people, the AI model is only going to focus on the existing objects of the image. Okay, so camera is zooming slowly, people walking naturally, cars moving slowly. Okay, I think that's enough. 5 seconds. I think it's gonna be more than enough there. Okay, so let's see what we have over here now. Oh, this is looking amazing. I think we have it right in here. So let's see. Yeah, this one's gonna be working just great. So we have a top view now. I think in this case, to make a little bit more of a cinematic look to it, we can go ahead and change this from daytime to nighttime. So let me do that by clicking here and then going into up here actually from video creator to image editor and change this to Nano Banana 2. Now we can use our prompt preset and click on make a few times. Also, I want to check out our nighttime scene, which is looking great. I think this one is looking awesome. So let's enlarge this one. Wow, you can see that Nano Banana 2 has really added some artistry into the overall image here. I think this one looks pretty nice. I used Kling actually. I see. Okay, well, let's see our results and compare them, because you can see that there's so many AI models from Kling that you can actually just tweak around them, because Kling, let's see how many AI models Kling has actually, and we have our results ready. Okay, you can see that this is looking super natural and realistic. So that was Kling01. Okay, so we don't have any ghosts, no one's walking through anyone there. So I think this one is looking great. Okay, additionally, we can use some other view. If we use something like this, I think we would probably have an even more interesting animation. Okay, so let me try this one out now, because I really like this version. And I'm going to again animate it. So let's go into video creator again. Now Kling01. So yeah, as you can see, we have multiple Kling versions. You might have probably used 1.6 maybe, which was one of the first AI models out there. But right now we have pretty good and decent quality. So Kling01 again. And yeah, I think we can copy and paste the same exact prompt or just stick with it. So yeah, camera zoom in, people walking naturally. Remember that word is actually pretty important. So people walking naturally, cars passing by slowly. Actually, let's not move the cars. So yeah, let's only keep the camera movement with people walking there. And then click on make. You can see that we also have some video duration. You can pick 5 or 10 seconds. If you're making a video editing or post-processing, I would suggest you to use 10 seconds because you have more time to play around with the camera movements. That's another thing that we're going to be covering actually in just a second. The video editing, okay? If I go to C dance 2.0, we can go even up to 15 seconds, okay? We can also choose the resolution. We have 480, 720, and 1080. The aspect ratio needs to be on the original now, but you know, C dance 2.0, you have plenty of more settings there. So also keep that in mind. Okay, so now we have some nice nighttime shots. I think we can enhance this one a little bit. So yeah, I think we can actually add some more lighting in here because it's a little bit dark. So if we turn all of the lights from the buildings that we have in here, that should make the contrast pop out a little bit better. So let me go back to image editor there. Okay, and now turn the interior artificial lights on. Also, let's give it a hint of for Nano Banana, so that it knows that this is actually a top view. Top view. This is a top view. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Let's go back to 2K and 3:4 on the aspect ratio. And I think I'm gonna go with 3 now. Great. And let's see if our animation is ready, which I think it is. Okay, this looks pretty amazing. Great. All right, guys. So let me just go ahead and pick another view because I actually want to see if we can create an even better view from this one over here. So I'm going to be copying this same view over here and pasting it over here. Okay, so I'm copying the prompt from this image to this one over here. Okay, and then clicking on make. I just want to see if we can create something more interesting, even more interesting. Awesome. Okay, so we have some yeah, amazing. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty great. Hi, if I update the model, can I get the same image updated, just adjusting the changes I did to the model, or do I have to start from 0? Yeah, if you can see that we have plenty of nodes in here. So in that case, you can't really update what you did in here or what you did in here actually and update it for all of the models. Okay, you would have to go one by one again. That's something that it still needs to be done. Okay, I think we have quite an interesting view over here, but I missed saying only from the 4 center buildings. Okay, so let's now refine the prompt. Another good practice is to start off with a random prompt and then keep on refining based on your results. Okay, turn the interior artificial lights on from the 4 buildings on the center. 4 buildings on the center. Yeah, center area. This is a top view. Okay, Nano Banana 2. Let's cook it now and let's send it 3 times. Okay, so yeah, refining the prompts once you see the results is also a good practice. Okay, so we have one. Let's see if we manage to create new views from here. I think this one is actually way better than the others because we can actually see the building now. Let's see these ones over here. We can see the axis. This is also a very powerful image because in this case, you can see that our canvas is basically ended up being the sky, and on the sky, our buildings were placed. Okay, so in this case, this is a more powerful image than the one we had before. Okay, so in that case, I can use this one, and I'm actually going to be animating it as well. Another important thing to know is that if I go over to Video Creator, Klingo 1 doesn't really consume that many credits. Okay, so that's something. It's powerful, so you can go through all of these. Sometimes many of these AI animation models consume more credits than others because they're more powerful than that one. So keep in mind which kind of movement you want to create. Okay. So that's another thing that you have that I can tell you as a tip. Furthermore, some of these AI models have last frame setting on their right side. So this actually will allow us to connect two different frames to one single node. This actually, it's pretty powerful because then you can have more control over the camera movement itself. So let's go ahead and test it out. So in this case, I'm going to be picking this daylight version where we have our towers in here, right? And then what we need to do, what we can do actually, is to shift our camera from this corner over to the top view. This is gonna be creating a pretty dynamic view, okay? So bear with me, this is actually going to be pretty challenging for the AI, okay? So for example, in here, I'm going to tell the camera to orbit upwards, focused on the buildings so that we can see the top view that we have in here, okay? So now let's connect this one over here. So essentially this is going to be our first frame or our starting frame, and this is going to be our ending frame. So our prompt has to be quite detailed for the camera to be moving precisely. So in this case, camera moves up or orbits to the left slowly, focused on the current towers. Okay, so camera orbits to the left upwards while moving up. Okay, while moving up to a top view. Let's actually get rid of the word slowly, focused on the current towers. Okay, so whenever you're creating a new animation and you want to create a more dynamic approach, make sure to use the word orbit. Okay, so orbit actually creates a very dynamic movement. However, if you need to be careful because sometimes it starts to orbit around some other towers or starts to look away from our current view. So a powerful word that you can use here on our prompt is focused on the current towers, okay? All right, so let's read some of your comments, guys. I just installed this one in the free. I just installed desktop app and it's free, but I had 4 credits and get some results with that, and I was great. Thanks, man. You are welcome. Glad you found it interesting. In this point of view, be careful using your credit. If we use on good model, it will be worth it. Yeah. You can also get 50% off, I believe. Let me check some of our. Let me see if I can give you guys some nice discount. Stick to the end of the webinar, and I'm going to throw you in a promo code so you can try it out. Would be great to draw and write in your workspace to describe group generated images for clarity. Yeah, of course you can do that as well, offbeat. So if you, for example, want to draw and be more precise, as I've just, actually I deleted those. Anyway, let's go back. So if you want to draw in here, I can go into the enlarge tab, and in here you'll see this draw tool that we have in here. Furthermore, if you go over to the left side, we have the draw tool. So in here you can start adding whatever you want. We just use it. If you go back a little bit to more or less the center section of the webinar, I actually drew some trees and people, which were pretty fun to create with Nano Banana. So in here, for example, you can add a tree on the foreground and then tell Nano Banana 2 to add it based on your marked area. Okay, so that's pretty powerful as well. Is it free? You have some free credits if you download it right now. Also, I'm going to be giving you guys some a promo code. So again, let's keep on going with this other animation that I'm working on. So of course, we need to go into Video Creator, then Kling 01. In here, I think 5 seconds would be enough. And you can see if I pick Kling 01, we have an extra node. If I, for example, will go with Sora, that only handles one single image. Okay, so make sure to pick something that says last frame on the right side. So Kling 01, last frame, and then I can connect this one over here. So again, this is going to be my starting frame, this is going to be my end frame, and now let's actually see I already have my prompt in here. So camera orbits to left while moving to a top view, focus on the current towers. Great, let's make it. Okay, now should we try another one? I think we should. So I'm gonna be trying it again just to keep on things going, and click on make again. Okay, awesome. So let's wait for those to load. And do we have something else created? Yes, we have this one actually. So I also would want a nice animation from this angle. If I go over here, we have also some really interesting prompt presets, like people on a time lapse. So we have we can try this one. So you can see how the prompt goes. Fast time lapse movie. People are walking around this space and having fun. Add camera movement. Okay, we can also use that one. Yeah, we can just send it away. But to keep things a little bit easier for the AI and our final animation more consistent, I can actually go ahead and tell what to do. Tell it specifically what should the camera be doing. So camera zooms in, focused on the glass tower. People moving, people walking naturally, and cars moving slowly. Okay, so let's make it. And one extra animation that I can show you, which is pretty powerful for presentations, it's the time lapse. So time lapse day to night. Trial light. So what makes a very interesting time lapse from a day to night transition is the light trails left by the cars. So that's something that you could use. Light trails or car light trails. There we go. And click on make. Okay, so we have our first animation ready where we have this time lapse of the people there. Okay, this one's actually pretty interesting. No one's bumping into each other, so you can see how powerful this is. You can see also the clouds moving. So our prompt presets are extremely powerful as well. Okay, this is looking amazing, guys. And this one could actually be our opening shot. So at this point, I think I'm trying to think of how our animation storyboard is going to be developing. No, not the single images in your big workspace to have more clarity if you have dozens of images there. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, thanks for the suggestion. That's something that our developers could work on as well. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that could also be a very great addition to VizMaker. Okay, so yeah, we have some additional movements of the time lapse. Yeah, my time lapse was a little bit vague, I guess. So probably using the prompt presets are gonna be working better, I think. Okay, as well, we have this one too. So this is a more natural cinematic movement. Okay, it wanted to jump into a different frame, so that's fine, but I think I'm going to be sticking with this one. You can see how our prompt presets are way more powerful than you expect them to be. Okay, so anyway, let's see, did we make it? No, this one couldn't make it. I think in this case, we need the help from Cdance 2.0, guys. But this one, actually, we could work out of this one. Okay, I think we can work from this one on our video editing software. It almost nailed it. Okay, but if you want really precise results, I would rather go with Cdance 2.0. It's another thing that we can do. So test it out. So instead of clicking on 1, I'm going to Cdance 2.0, and we can actually copy this prompt over here. So you're also learning which AI models are also more capable than others. Okay, now let's 5-second 480p. I think it's gonna be fine for this test. So I'm gonna send it away. Make. Okay, let's see if that could help us out. All right. What other things we can do in here? We can also have, I think this one did really great. Now we have what we wanted before. Remember that all of the lights were turned on the surrounding buildings, but now we're a little bit more focused on this one, okay? Okay, so what do you think about Enscape with AI? Because I think I link my BIM model to render base. Yeah, I think, for example, for me, before, when I worked on the rendering industry, I used to work with 3ds Max and Corona. And now I barely use it, to be honest with you, even for my personal and professional projects. You know that Corona has this hyper-realistic approach, which high-end visualization, right? But now I can actually do all of my work just by using AI on my workflow, to be honest with you. So in that case, you can actually just link, I think you work with Revit maybe for your BIM model. You can link VizMaker with Revit. Look, like I'm not saying this to get you guys hyped. I'm really saying this that I actually changed my overall workflow. I don't longer use any render engines anymore. I only use in this case VizMaker and all of the AI apps. I'm not lying to you guys. So I even went ahead and I mean, if you want, I mean, 3D modeling is still super important, right? I'm not saying not to learn 3D model, and also the render engines. I'm sure they're very important as well. But for example, 3D modeling with 3ds Max and Corona and V-Ray, those are pretty powerful still. Okay, but in my own workflow, because I mostly work with conceptual images. Okay, the AI workflow has been really great. So yeah, I think we can see what we can do with this one. Let's see. Yeah, I think it would be pretty nice to have a nice camera zoom in here. Some of you might be afraid of heights. Let me know if anyone's afraid of heights there. I'm afraid of heights sometimes. So this might give me something. So let's see. Let's change this because this is going to be actually a more simple animation. So I'm going to change it from Kling 01. So let's see. Camera zoom in. Dynamically. So yeah, that should make it quite interesting. Camera zoom in dynamically. And let's hit make. So yeah, the word dynamic is also pretty important if you want to create very interesting animations. Okay. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Seedance takes a while because it's pretty powerful and it needs to think a little bit longer, I guess. So we have our initial shot, which is going to be basically this one. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, let's wait for it to load. I guess it's a bit heavy now. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it was this one. No, actually I wanted, yeah, we can have this one as our initial shot. Yeah, this one could work. And instead of zooming in, I think we could orbit the camera around. Let's see if Seedance managed to do it. Yeah, this one's way better. As you can see, it even added some dynamic movement, which is going to be amazing for our animation. Maybe you can hear the sound as well, because it also has that option. If I go back to Seedance 2.0, you can see, yeah, actually it's not here, but yeah, it also adds sound, by the way, which is a pretty dynamic sound as well. Okay, great. So this is pretty nice. Let me stop that because the sound's still going. And let's see the zoom in. Okay. Yeah, this gives me a little bit of goosebumps. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for being honest with us. Hey, no worries. It will be possible, of course. I'm always honest with you guys. I'm never lying to you. Will it be possible to directly load the 3D file from modeling? Yes. Oh, just the whole 3D model. I mean, no, I don't think so. You can't upload the 3D model itself. I mean, I'm sure that's coming. I'm sure one AI model will be doing that soon. You can upload it and then render it. I think that's a winning idea, $1 million idea actually. It will come soon, I guess. I would love to work with you. I would love to work with you too. So tell me, guys, are you architects, designers, visualizers? Yeah, let me know. Engineers, what are you guys working in? What industry? Just to have it as a benchmark, how many credits does this workflow has consumed so far? Yeah, that's something that I actually have being asked all the time on the webinars. So just because I can't really tell you because I've already wasted some of my credits before the webinar. But if I go over here and change this from image editor to Nano Banana Pro, you'll see over on the bottom right side, I'm sorry, the credit cost. This only costs two credits to create, okay? So let's see, 2, 4, 6, just to create 3 different variations. If you don't want to waste your credits, you can absolutely just work with 2 variations. I'm just being a little bit greedy with here and creating 3, but 2 generations per image is gonna be enough, okay? So yeah, it doesn't really cost me, like 2 credits, it's kind of low. And if I change this from Nano Banana 2, which is also very powerful, it costs only 1.2 credits, as you can see. So just 1 credit per generation, that's pretty low. And Nano Banana 2, as you can see, I've been mostly using it rather than Nano Banana Pro. Okay, so that might give you an idea, all right, of how many credits I've been working on so far. Because I'll be lying to you if I told you the exact number. I don't really know. Okay, so we have this one, and also we have this one over here. I think we have all of our clips ready. So now it's time to learn a little bit about video editing. Yeah, so architect studying interior design master course. Great, amazing. So you're already an architect and you're now studying interior designer? Wow, so you're gonna get like 2 professions? That's great. I guess that's a pretty challenging. Architect in Rome. Wow, yeah, I mean architecture was born in Italy, right? So that's that's amazing. I'm guessing you do some crazy stuff there. Landscaping, amazing, great. I'm actually working on a landscaping project right now. It's quite interesting because you need to know the species of each flower, each tree, and each plant. That is some work. Okay, so anyway, let's now jump into some video editing. So the video editing software that I mostly use is DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve is completely free. If you guys want to go ahead and download it, you can just type in Google DaVinci Resolve. Just make sure you're downloading the best version. I mean the original version. I'm gonna see if I can find it on the internet because it has a weird name to it. So let me just Google it really fast, DaVinci Resolve, because you get many links when you Google it actually. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the place where you want to be, by the way, if you want to download DaVinci Resolve. So you want to head over to Blackmagic Design, and in here you can just download it in here, okay? Just for you guys to know. Alternatively, you can use CapCut, okay? CapCut already comes with some nice presets, so you don't have to work manually on it. Okay, anyway, once you launch DaVinci Resolve, the first thing that you want to do is to go ahead and start a new project. So I'm going to be double clicking on title project in here, and let's name it webinar SketchUp, I guess. And then click on create. You can also change the location, okay? Okay, whoopsie daisy, this is full view. Let me just reduce so that everyone can see it. Alrighty. Awesome. So now, this is how everything's looking on DaVinci Resolve. And the first thing that we have to do is actually import our clips, right? So to do that, I'm going to head over to VizMaker again. And in order to download our clips, we need to right-click on them and then click on Save Selected Media. Let me see. This is going to be 01. Okay, it's gonna be also quite helpful if you start to number the clips. So I've got them in order. So 01, 02, 03. So I'm going to name this 01 and click on save. Next, I probably want this one. So right click, save selected media. I'm gonna name this 02. Next, save selected media, and so on and so forth until we arrive until our fourth one. So let me right click. When it's downloading, we need to wait just a second, and then 04. Great, guys. So let me go into DaVinci Resolve. Our VizMaker project is pretty much done. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Did you like the visualizations? Did you like the animations? What did you guys think about it? Okay, let me go back into DaVinci Resolve. And now the second thing that you have to do is to go into the Edit tab, which is right in here. All right, in here we have the clips media pool. This is where we need to import our clips. So we have this one. Okay, so in here, the only thing that we have to do is to click and drag our clips over to the media pool. Okay, let me read some of your comments. Garden architecture. I've never known about garden architecture. What does that mean? Is it like, I've only heard of landscape, and that's the first thing I've heard of garden architecture. I have an art studio in Brazil. I'm a 3D artist. That's amazing. Great. Super interesting. Like, that should be pretty challenging as well to run your own studio. I kind of tried too, but it's kind of difficult. Kind of tiny houses and furniture. That's offbeat. Wow. So do you design your own tiny houses? Houses. Trade show exhibit design. I've heard that that is pretty trendy. There's a lot of work involved in the trade show exhibit design. I actually want to get into it. Any tips for me to get into it? Excuse me, is DaVinci Resolve free download? I didn't hear. Yes, it's free to download. Architect, great. Yeah, I'm an architect too. So we're architecture friends, I guess. Awesome, guys. Really nice to hear all of your professions there. So, okay, next I have to click and drag them over here. And one thing that we can do is to create some transitions between all of these. Okay, I'm gonna mute this. Okay, so in order to create more dynamic animations, one thing has to be clear. We need to add some speed points onto our clips in order to change the speed of our clip to make it more dynamic. So in this case, the first thing that we have to do is to select our clip, and in order to start editing the speed gradually or even in certain points, we need to use the shortcut Ctrl+R. So Ctrl+R, it's going to activate the speed options, as you can see. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see properly on this clip that we're going to be working with. And then we can start adding some speed points. Okay, the first speed point I want to create is up to this into this point. So you can see that I'm dragging the timeline over here, and in order to add one, we need to click on this arrow. In here we have the add speed point option. I'm going to click it once, and then I'm going to drag this tracker, I guess, or this I forgot the name of it for some reason. So I'm going to drag this other one over here. So add another speed point right in there. Okay, so as you can see, we have three different speed points: at the beginning, at the center, and at the end. So at the beginning, we want to start the clip with a nice subtle speed, and then we need to increase it a little bit to create a more dynamic animation. Being said that, we can grab the top arrowhead of the speed point and drag it all the way to the left side. You can see now that the percentage of the speed has changed. Okay, so now it looks something like this. Great. So it looks a lot more interesting and more eye-catchy, if you ask me, rather than just having a simple animation. Great. Okay, so we can also change the position of the speed points by grabbing the bottom option of the tool. So if I drag it over here, and actually we can make it a little bit faster. So I'm gonna drag it over to the left side. So if I drag it over to the right side, it becomes slower. If I drag it over to the left side, it becomes faster. So let's see how this looks. Awesome. Okay, Great. Now, if we want to add a transition between these clips, what we need to do is to cut them a little bit. Additionally, before jumping to that, actually, I want to show you some more interesting stuff. So if I click on parameters, and right next to parameters, we can find the keyframe curves. So if I click in here, we can start playing with some curves. You can see now that we can read the speed of our animation as curves. So this looks a little bit harsh because our curve is not nice and smooth. It actually has some sharp edges, right? The objective here is to end up with a nice curvature, okay? So we have another architect here, Awesome Camel. I think that's the correct name, Kajija Camel. I'm so sorry if I pronounce it incorrectly. I'm so sorry, guys. So nice to have you here. Multiple architects joining the chat. Great. So in here, in order to create a smooth curvature in here, we need to pick the points, right click, and now we can select the ease in and out option. You can see now that we have some extra handles that we can actually move around to end up with a more nice curvature. So this is going to end up being a smoother animation, as you can see. Now, in order to create some nice transitions, we need to start trimming our clips. In order to trim clips, the only thing that you have to do is actually just click and drag the clip over here, okay? And click and drag the other clip that you want to make the transition with over to the other side. So we are actually trimming and cutting them. Then we need to join them together. And if I go over to Effects, to the Effects tab over right next to Media Pool, I'll be able to find some video transitions, as you can see in here. And we have DaVinci Resolve has many free transitions, as you can see. Okay, so we can try them out. Let's try a few of them out. Okay, so let's try block glitch, for example. So I'm going to be clicking and dragging them over here. And you can see now that I've added this effect on our timeline. I can also go ahead and make it a little bit shorter, like so. So it looks something like this, okay? So that's pretty dynamic. I really like it. Awesome. I can also make it a bit more longer. But in that case, I think if I separate them a little bit, I would have to take my speed point over to the left side so that we have a little bit more of extra room for that transition to happen. So let me place it over here. Awesome. I think that looks pretty good. We can change that with crash zoom as well. So if I select both of the clips, or even I can select the effect and delete it with the delete key. Next, I can, again, place it over here, the crash zoom, to see what we can, what results we can have, okay? Okay, let me know in the comments if you have any specific favorite effects that you guys work with, or if you have any experience with video editing in CapCut, for example. Let me see. I think my personal favorite is the block glitch, to be honest with you. But we can also have cross dissolve, for example. That's a very subtle one. Detail dissolve. Let's see, edgy. I think I'm gonna go with glitch in here. See what. That's also too glitchy. Let's go with block glitch in this case. I think that's pretty good. Okay, in this case, we can also add some further speed points in here. So Ctrl+R, remember to activate the speed settings. I'm gonna lower this down a little bit. And in here, I'm gonna be adding some speed points in here and speed points over to the side and increase it like we did before. Remember that we need to add the ease in and out effects to end up with something more interesting. Okay, I think let's speed that these ones a little bit faster. Nice, I think this one looks pretty nice. And the one that I really want to work with is the result from CDance 2.0, which is this one, right? It already has some nice effects on it. Okay, so now, okay, so very basic, to be honest, I see. In that case, if you guys are really new to video editing software, I would suggest you to go with CapCut because it already has some pretty nice settings in it. Okay, so let's change this. I want a faster animation overall. So I'm going to just add a speed point over on the last bit of our animation and increase the speed over here, just there. Also, I can add a nice curvature there. Okay, that was too fast, so let me reduce the speed a little bit there. Okay, nice. Great. And then we can start adding some transitions to each one of these clips. Remember that we have to first go ahead and trim them a little bit. So let's trim them over to this side. And by the way, guys, you don't really need to strictly maintain this type of curvature. You can play with multiple curvatures. Now you can have a curve over here, then a curve over to this side. So keep that in mind. You can really make some interesting animations with it. For example, in here, we can also just have this very fast animation on this section and so on and so forth, right? But I can start editing this video forever. It really, it also takes a little bit of time. It's another profession basically. Okay, so yeah, I think this one looks very nice. So that's why I'm just teaching you like what I usually do for my own workflow. But of course, you can have a much more interesting workflow for your curves, if that makes sense. Okay, and last but not least, camera shake. I think this one looks nice. A nice camera shake there, and then we can add some speed points in here. I think it would be nice for the camera to zoom in really fast towards the center of our project in here. Okay. So let's add this over here, and let's see. Great. Yeah, I think we need some nice curvature in here as well. So let's go ahead and fix this. Okay. Nice. Great. So let's see what we created so far. Okay, nice glitch in there. Awesome. I think I pretty liked it. Let me know what you guys think. To end this, the only thing that we have to do is to render out our animation. So in this case, I can head over to the spaceship icon that we have on the bottom right side. Okay. In here, also the first thing that we have to do is to get rid of the black strips at the sides. As you can see, those black bars at the side need to be gone. So for this, I'm going to go into the settings tab over to the bottom right side in here. Then I'm going to go into custom, and in custom, we need to match the resolution with the actual resolution of our clips. So let's head over to our clips, and here is my first clip. In order to check out the resolution, we need to go into properties and then into details. Okay. In here, we'll find that the resolution is 828 by 1108. So let's keep those numbers in mind and let's change them. Okay, so in timeline resolution, again, let's go into custom, then 828 by 1108. Next, you need to head over to image scaling, and on image scaling, you need to make sure that on the input scaling, you have scale full frame with crop. Then click on save, and you'll see that those sidebars or black strips are no longer there. All right. So once you have that, you can go ahead and select a location for your animation and also name it. We can name it exterior animation. And on location, in this case, I'm just going to save it on the downloads tab for now. And QuickTime, it's going to be okay. But if you're using something else, which is mostly more global, a more global format is going to be MP4. Okay, so QuickTime, I'm sticking with QuickTime, but a more global format is MP4. Okay, so now timeline frame rate is 24 frames per second. On the last webinar, I had a question, a brilliant question actually, asking what's the frames per second on the AI video generations. It's actually 30 frames per second, but I'm sticking with 24 for now because it's more cinematic. If you want more cinematic look, I'd stay with 24 frames per second. All right. Being said that, that's enough for the settings. You're good to go. Just need to click on Add to Render Queue on the bottom here, and then click on Render All. When you get this message, for example, it says Render Job 1 failed, just render it again and replace it, okay? Awesome. I think we made it. I think we created it. Let me check out the Downloads tab now and see if we managed to render it well. Okay, so let's see. Awesome. So you can see our final result. One thing that I could have done was probably to actually integrate the 3D model as well into my animation. But you can see our end result from this simple, or actually not simple, but this amazing 3D model. You can check out the chat, so you guys can check out the download link for this specific model. You can get it on the 3D warehouse if you want to follow along. So from this simple model, we managed to create a very unique and actually quite interesting animation. Okay, so if you have any further questions, let me know. If not, it was a pleasure being with you guys today. Thank you so much for the ones who commented and interacted. It was really fun for me. Yeah, it's great job AI doing so far. It is, I agree, and it's only going to get better. So keep that in mind. Keep adjusting your workflows, your software, because AI, it's actually coming for everything, in my opinion. I think it's worth saying. So thanks again, guys. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Again, if you want to join our VizAcademy's group, where we're going to be teaching you how to 3D model, how to render, and how to animate using all of the tools such as 3ds Max, Corona, and now also, of course, AI. Please check us out at VizAcademy.co.uk. You can also go into the student portfolio. The students' results talk for themselves. You can scroll down and see all of the results from our students, all of their comments. So if you want to get into the 3D modeling and rendering and animation industry alongside AI, which we also cover there, feel free to have a look at it and send us an email if you're interested in on doing so. Again, if you want to follow along this workshop, you can hop into VizMaker. So VizMaker.VizAcademy.co.uk, and you can download it from there. Okay. Thanks a lot for your guidance. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone. Thanks a lot for your kind comments. Dear colleague architect, thank you for the beautiful and extremely interesting course. My pleasure. Glad you could make it, felony lover. Okay. Catch you guys later. Thank you so much again, and see you soon on another workshop.